Hey, what's going on, guys? It's your boy Mario here. Welcome to the live. I don't know if you guys hear me properly. You'd have to let me know. Let me just. I just want to log into all these some of these devices I have here to make sure I could like reply to all the comments on things because the next screen here actually not working for now. I can get fixed. So, hmm. Right. So today we essentially going to be going over one of the projects that I recently, well not recently, but as for the past couple of years was actually working on, and that is Journey to the Ancient Land of Moruga. Uh, the problem with this project is uh, I did the first episode, and in the midst of working on the second episode, maybe just like about I just had like about two or three scenes to just re-edit, and I mean it could be said that because of my perfectionist behavior, uh, I didn't get time to export the project now, right? And so before I had time to actually export the second chapter, which was already like 98% completed, the laptop that I was using, which is a gaming laptop, an Acer, and just now. So an Acer Predator Helios 300. This model, I think this is the 2021 or 2022 model. It came and it crashed, right? I don't know if it was because of the overheating or what, but as you guys can see, it is actually in almost brand new condition. I barely used this laptop for like about a year and something. Why is this bee flying about here? But it just came and crashed, and so I had all the work on an external HDD, and so I just unplugged the hard drive, and I say, okay, so the laptop isn't working anymore. So what I'm going to do is just put aside the external hard drive until I build a new system, right? Like the one I have now, so that I could continue working on, the projects that I was working on at the time. And so when I built this new system and I tried to plug in the old hard drive, I keep hearing this clicking sound in the hard drive, and so the computer wasn't reading the hard drive at all. Alright, so I had to go check it out, and what I was told is that the hard drive is actually outdated. It was old now. And so because of the fact that it was like laid down for quite a long time, it wasn't it 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 wasn't no longer readable. So the new computer couldn't read it properly now, and so I lost almost everything on that entire hard drive now, right? I did some data recovery recently and got back some of some pictures and stuff that I had of my son. But as pertaining to everything else from the hard drive, it is or it was lost in the process now, right? So including the raw files to the now uh Journey to the Ancient Land of Moruga Part 2. So what I'm going to do here today with you guys is I'm going to go through the entire episode, what was completed so far, and kind of explain to you guys some of the things that the ideas that I would have had for the episode, what was initially planned to be changed after some time, and so on and so forth now, right? But let me just put on my headphones here. Make sure this is okay. Yeah. Right, so we're gonna start. Well, I'm gonna be watching through the episode with you guys, and also pause it in and between and kind of explain the idea of some of maybe the plot of what the episode's supposed to be or the future episodes supposed to be. Because I don't think I would be continuing this project in this manner from here on forward, right? If I am to, or when I am to continue the project, it is going to change drastically in terms of like story and cinematography and everything, right? So, because this was actually officially my first film that I would have worked on, so I didn't have much experience on everything in filmmaking then. So, yeah, let's start going through this. Is this the correct file? Oh no, wrong file. So one of the things I wanted to do with the episode is at the beginning of each episode, you have, like, depending on the theme of the episode, you have like these elements that fly past the screen over what was my official logo at the time now, right? It is still my personal logo, but I've created a broader company, a broader film company for projects like this. The name of it is Patrice Bro Studios, as you guys would know who follow me. This is the logo here. So this is the new logo. So yeah, the idea was at the beginning of every episode, I have these elements that fly across the screen, right? In a manner in which would kind of hint to what the project is actually about, what the episode is actually about. So for this episode, you would have seen a gush of water across the screen, and that would have signified that the episode is solely being shot or filmed or edited to be an underwater or open ocean sort of episode. So off the bat, it would have continued directly from the first episode, where the first episode would have left off, where Perseus would have activated the gem, and then the light would have shot into the sky now. In the process being I know everybody thought he was actually vaporized. Well, he wasn't vaporized, he was just teleported to a new location, right? To meet another priest, like a different checkpoint.
So you are finally awake. Well done, Delegators. You have completed the first phase of lifting this darkness from our land. You must now venture to the Sunken Kingdom to also free it from the grasp of this great evil.
So I'm guessing you're one of the priests that lost your power.
Yes, I am. My brothers and I were stripped of most of our power. A story to which I believe you were already told. This land has suffered a great deal, Delegators. But only now we stand a fighting chance against this great evil. So you must understand why we need your help.
But I don't understand. Why me? None of this makes any sense.
Alright, don't mind the audio. It was actually not fully completed, right? When I say like 98%, it's like visually, no, right? So don't mind the audio.
1 minute I'm home in my room, the other in the jungle running for my life.
As you guys can
Now,
see,
here with you,
it isn't really synchronized. So
to
this is
God my
actually a
sleep,
really close
being
friend of
told
mine
that I have to swim to
who
the
would have
bottom of the
played
ocean.
this role of
Why
the
did it have to
Leviathan
be
priest.
you?
There isn't much that I can see, but what I do know is that your destiny
So
was written in the stars.
I would have showed someone this and they're like, yo, so the priest and they wear V-neck.
Where are the other priests? And why aren't you all working together to try to defeat this darkness?
My brothers are in hiding, secretly plotting a way to help you fight against this darkness that they give us.
Why depend on me, a stranger? Someone who is foreign to your world.
You are much of this world, like any of us are, Delegators. You are more deeply connected to this world than you know, which is why you must help us defeat this darkness.
I don't see how I can be much of any help.
There is much power within you, Delegatus. You need only to find a way to control. Within your last battle, you did feel such power, didn't you?
Yes, after touching the sword, I actually felt a surge of power, unlike anything I've ever felt before. Where did that come from?
The amulet itself is but a storage to unlimited power, to which it borrows from each of the gems. So as we regain our strength by healing from each of our temple, you become much powerful, Delegatus. We have arrived. I cannot go beyond this protection barriers. This barrier here placed by my mother prevents me from going forward to retrieve my strength. You must now return to the Sunken Kingdom, to the second temple, the fleet, and the last of so that I may regain my strength and aid you in the final battle against this great darkness. So find the courage as you have done before, Delegatus, and help us defeat this darkness. And if you fail, this and all wars shall be lost. So help us regain our strength, so that we may aid you in defeating this darkness.
Hey, is everything okay? No, I was just kind of worried. Just wanted to make sure everything was okay. Oh, yeah. What? What is this? Okay.
So the idea was, so I'll just kind of do it in pieces because as you guys can see, this episode is actually very long, and the entire thing comes up to like almost half an hour. So I'll pause it in between to sort of explain the idea of what I had, right? So for the first part, where Perseus encounters the second priest, he would have engaged in, multiple conversations, some to which during the course of the episode we would have had flashbacks to now. Particularly with him swimming beneath the surface of the water and not drowning, right? So the idea is that once he has the amulet with him, he can't die by natural causes, right? So he can't die by uh, holding his breath for like hours, or he can't die by burning. He can't die by, if he falls off a cliff, falls on his back or his shoulder, his head, and he breaks or something. He can't die through that, man. Right? The amulet prevents that, man. So it safeguards him from hurt, or like, that in any serious way, right? Damage in any serious way, including that. And so that would have allowed him to breathe beneath the surface of the water. That would have allowed him superhuman speed in terms of being able to swim fast to evade, creatures that would be beneath the surface of the water that would have come to attack him, right? So the idea was, as I said, to really show the potential and the power of the amulet, and that it isn't just something that is just, just some sort of cosmetic, or I say cosmetic, not cosmetic, some sort of jewelry or something that he has on, right? For something for show now, but it is genuinely very powerful. And so that was the whole idea with that. So we're moving into now, right? So in the first piece there as well, one of the things that the audience would have been introduced to is the fact that this priest is particularly, this priest in particular is actually corrupted. And now we're going to find out that with this scene here, that it is not only that particular priest that Perseus would have encountered, the second priest, but also they are all corrupted. Right? So all the priests are actually corrupted, and they would have lied and manipulated Perseus into activating the gems. So the main idea behind this is that at the end, the goal of the shadow, or the evils, or the evil entity that has entered into the realm of creation, the ancient land of Moruga, its goal is to branch out throughout the entirety of creation, right? Throughout the entire universe, the galaxy, the multiverse, and the only way to do that is to get through the tree of life, which is a massive tree that is floating in the sky upside down, but it is hidden behind like a giant gate, right? And so it cannot be opened once the gems are in the temple in place, right? Where you see the white light in the sky, that is to signify that the gate is closed. And so when the darkness came, what it realized is that there's a gatekeeper and somebody who is in charge of opening and closing that gate. And it is something that is passed down from generation to generation. And so it was passed down through Perseus. Spoiler, Perseus is actually from the ancient land of Moruga. And the idea was that he was the gatekeeper to open the gates, right? But he was brought to this foreign world, which is Earth, Terra, and eventually through fate and destiny, found his way back to his homeland. And so now he just keeps hearing that the land is corrupted, that there's a darkness in the land, but visually he isn't really seeing that now. So he's just kind of going off of what everybody is saying, because his idea is to try to find a way to get back to Earth, right? And not really thinking about the dire consequences of some of the actions that he would be taking. And so he would have allowed them to manipulate him into opening these gates now. That's the end goal of the entire story. And then have to find a way to stop them from branching out into the multiverse and even destroying Earth itself now. Right? So let's just continue watching it. So as you can see, foreshadowed over them, there are these, figures now. So when the evil spirits take over, the priests are actually not bad, but they're possessed now. And so they're arguing here. I didn't do any voiceover for this yet. So as I said, there's a lot of audio stuff that would have needed to be done. So they're arguing here of what was the right choice to make, particularly if it was right to give Perseus the Chaos Eater, which is the sword that he would have had in the end of the first chapter. And so, the argument kind of stops when the main priest would have sent for them and they would have flied up and exited the scene. And so now we're back with Perseus here as he ventures to the Sunken Kingdom, where he would have to find the other temple. Spoiler, while he's actually on his way to the Sunken Kingdom, he swims so fast and he creates such a boom when he swims. It's almost like I don't know if many of you guys would have seen Zack Snyder's Superman, Man of Steel, where Superman, how he jumps up and just shoots off like a F-22 Raptor and breaks the sound barrier. So the idea is like Perseus does the same when he swims, right? Or even like Aquaman, right? I actually got that idea from Aquaman, to be honest. So when he swims, he creates such a loud boom or a loud sound that other creatures or beings actually hear him. And so these, I don't want to call them Atlanteans. I haven't actually really gotten a name for them just yet. But in the new story, I'm rewriting and renaming everything. So I'm actually doing this in a book. I would let you guys know when this is readily available for purchase online. And so what they heard from a distance is that loud boom, right? As you could see them here in this particular area, right? So they would have heard it and hid when he was passing by. And I don't know if you guys could notice up here, you'd see like three figures here. So they're watching to see what's passing now, while Perseus is passing here. And then they would disappear, and then you'd see them swim out to report back to the temple or to the king, stating that there's something out there now. This is the scene that was before when the shadows would have flied up into the sky. So I have like this nice scene where the shadows fly up, and then the camera comes back down and transitions to the underwater, and then you get the shadow on the shark or its creature passing by now. That's a transition I loved working on. I would have actually really loved for you guys to see this entire episode in completed form now. There are many things that I would have wanted to change, but then some that I loved and would have left just the same after completion of editing it. So as you hear that loud kind of thum song, so every time he pushes himself, you get that effect now. So that's what they all hear. And so they sort of safeguards themselves, because a lot of creatures and beings that lives beneath the surface of the water doesn't know what it is now. So this is the Sunken Kingdom. Actually, I had a lot of fun editing this. It was actually the first time I would have edited stuff in Blender like that, man. As in building a castle and adding towers and all these type of things. And so now you have the, well, let's call them Atlanteans for now. Now you have the Atlanteans reporting back to their underwater base now. So the idea is that they have. So I'll just pause it here quickly to just mention this. So when the darkness would have came into the land and started killing people and trying to and killing people and corrupting the priests, what would have happened is that you would have had certain tribes and certain clans that would have been able, through their connection to the stones or their worship to the gems, had abilities beyond the comprehension of the like mere mortals, mere human beings. Right? So those specific gems would have given certain people the ability to, per se, breathe underwater, live under the ocean. Some live in the desert in extreme temperatures, without being harmed or hurt. Some in lava environments, and some, as I said, in just generally all over, right? Even some with the ability to fly, right? We actually didn't get to that point yet, where there's actually a city that is levitating in the clouds, hidden away from the reach, or at least at that point in time was hidden away from the reach of the priest and or the main evil demon, or the main antagonist, the demon that has came to this world to destroy it and to get access to the multiverse now, right? So to get to these locations or through these locations, there are doors and gateways that guards them and protects them from not just any and anybody entering. So you'd see the Atlanteans as they swim past here, and they enter through this gate that scans them even down to the creatures to make sure that they're not corrupted. And so if you're corrupted, it would instantly kill you now. So this is the hidden city of Elysium, which is where the Atlanteans reside. I actually didn't finish. This is one of the scenes that I didn't finish edit. So we just have like the music in the background playing. Shout out to production, create for beautiful sound designs. And so now we have this scene of Perseus as he passes through or passes by the Sunken Kingdom. Right, so this scene is actually, I cannot edit this, but it is rushed in a sense, where the idea was here, as he's passing by the Sunken Kingdom, or through the Sunken Kingdom, the amulet detaches itself, and or it creates like this sort of light or flare, whilst it is attached to Perseus, and it shoots into a specific direction, pulling him unwillingly towards that direction. So it takes control of his body, and he doesn't really have much of a say in it. He just has to go with it now. And whilst he's doing that, you have the shadow that is following now, or one of the minion of the shadows that is following. And so the shadow goes now and awakens a giant sea creature that has been sleeping for maybe centuries. And as we have Perseus venturing through this trench, as he's swimming through this trench, he gets or he encounters the giant. Hey guys, I'm a huge Naruto fan. Forgive me if it looks like a Rasengan. Again, demonstrating the power of the amulet in terms of its ability to, defend and also attack. Right, the amulet would have allowed him to create this sphere, this powerful atomic sort of sphere that would destroy or disintegrate anything within its partner. All he has to do is just generate it in his hand like a Rasengan from Naruto and just throw it at his opponent or whoever. And this could be done multiple times. Um, as long as the amulet, alright, so as long as the amulet is attached to him now. So as we have Perseus entering into this temple here, it is the temple of the gatekeepers and one that the amulet was guiding him towards. And so as he enters here, the shadow is actually outside waiting now. And so the sword that he would have had, the Chaos Eater, which is an aura blade, a blade that is uses mana to form, where you just have the handle and the rest of the blade is formed through mana. He carries it to this station, or it is the amulet puts him or carries him to this station where he takes his sword out and puts it in this machine and it powers up now. And at the same time, the amulet is showing him some visions of of all the priests being corrupted, whilst the sword is actually being powered up now. And here it comes. So he collects his sword and immediately rushes out the temple because the shadow is actually right behind him. And so a chase begins now. Give me a sec there, guys. That's all. Yeah, guys. Sorry for the delay. Grandma was calling me there. Yeah. So where were we? Yeah. So the as the sword is powered up, Perseus takes it and rushes out of the temple because the shadow is like right behind him. So this would eventually lead to the ending battle. Um, in the or just close to the temple. So as we get to this point, this is actually a very, very important point in the film. What I had in mind is that Perseus needs to touch the stone, right, in order to activate it. And so when he gets into the water, the idea is that he doesn't need to grab the stone itself, but because so it's like an electrical shock below the surface of the water, right? So it's like if you're in water and electricity touches the water, you along with every other living creature in the water is going to get shocked, right? So the amulet has such a power that once it comes within close proximity to the stones, and with Perseus having it in his possession, it would eventually or automatically connect to the Gemna and activate the Gemna. So he gets within the barrier or the range for the gem to be activated, and so it sends off the temple with immediate effect now, right? It activates the temple with an immediate effect without him even knowing what is going on now. And all of this is the plot of the shadow of the demon, because it understands this, it knows this, but Perseus is new to these things now. And all he wants is to just help and to find a way to go back home, right? But the more he tries to help is the more he creates an even worse situation, and he doesn't know this. And so later on in the series or in the film, he would actually be held accountable for all these actions that he's taking right now, by the remaining survivors of the world, right? Because there are a lot of persons who are still alive, from the ancient land of Moruga, from the realm of creation, and they would hold Perseus accountable for aiding the shadow, even though he didn't know what he was doing at the time. So as he gets in close proximity, he enters within the range, which is this barrier here. The temple automatically cuts off the white light and activates them. So that is 2 doors opened out of the 4 doors now. Or 2 keys activated out of the 4 keys to open the main the gate to the tree of life. And so you have like this exchange of words between him and the shadow. So I had like this split screen where you get both of their perspectives standing forward. So you have like Perseus on the left side and the shadow on the right, and they're looking forward at the camera, having a war of words. And then you get the flip side to that, which is their backs. And so from Perseus's perspective, you'd see the shadow or the shark pass behind the shadow, and then from the shadow's back, you'd see like a close-up version of that now, I had a lot of fun editing this. I won't lie. It was really, really fun. And so begins the battle. I won't lie, Production Crit actually produces a lot of great content, particularly music. They have, this is I would say this isn't sponsored at all, but this is me shouting out Production Crit. for those of you guys who have no idea what it is a site where you can download VFX presets along with audio design and all these things. It is absolutely amazing and one of the best purchases I would have made in many years. So we have Perseus winning the first round of the fight between him and the Shadow. I think editing these things would be much easier if I would have actors to play these roles instead of having to act it out myself, because it is very tiring to have to act and then come and do all the post-production editing, and it is very tiring and something that I'm trying to drift away from as much as possible. I actually caught myself again in it with Invasion 2020. um and it's mainly because of financial instability and the inability to pay actors, right? But once some things are sorted out in the near future, that shouldn't be a problem. So we have at the first fight, or in the first battle, where Perseus would have fought the Shadow. As you would have noticed, the sword gives off this blue overpowered sort of energy now. What he doesn't know is that the sword, at the time when he took it out from the temple, it wasn't fully charged. And so it's like when you play like Dragon Dogma or Skyrim, where you have to enchant a certain amount of energy into your weapons if you want it to be enchanted, right? So the sword was actually being charged to a certain percentage, or charged, and before it could have hit 100% or to be fully charged, Perseus would have removed it in an effort to try to get away from the Shadow, right? And so causing it again to not be fully charged, and so it actually loses power in the middle or after his first round of fighting the Shadow because of the overpowered attacks that he would have used. Right, defeating the Shadow with ease in the first round. Alright, so as you guys can see, in the midst of the second fight, it's where the sword powers off because all of the enchantment would have failed and or would have been used up, and so now he's left vulnerable to have to deal with everything now, right? The have to fight the remainder of the shadows now, or the shadow itself. And so now he goes to attack it with just the bare weapon, and it doesn't really do much damage, and the shadow easily overpowers him and destroys him with the aid of its pet, right? The shark. And so now we have a vulnerable Perseus. Doesn't have this superpowered weapon to fight, and is in the midst of a life or death situation, and within the last round of fighting, as it goes in the realm of creation, you need to win 2 out of the 3 rounds of fighting, and he has won the first one. The Shadow won the second, and now he has to fight the Shadow for the third, but the Shadow has the upper hand now, and so now it just dominates the battle and drains away his life whilst doing its monologue. And the amulet is signaling to Perseus to hold it in order to activate it, and he just barely stretches and gets his hand to it and eventually grabs it, and it lends him some of its unlimited raw power. And so now we get a glimpse of what the ability or the power of the gatekeeper actually is. I know some of you guys will say this looks like a huge Russian gun, yeah. So we have the end of the battle. As you guys can see, the shark skeleton is actually not fully edited yet. This was just like a temporary thing I had. As I said, the film needed to be worked on a bit. So now you get Perseus traveling to the temple, where he is going to receive or retrieve the gem, thinking to himself he is actually doing this for the greater good. Not really realizing that he is actually aiding the enemy, um, without actually really knowing that. So you have like this nice touching moment where he holds the amulet and then realizes that the shadow is actually not dead, and that he was unable to actually kill the shadow. And so it sort of does this evil diabolical monologue saying that it is going to sacrifice itself if it must to stop him now. So if you guys actually didn't get this yet, the idea is that the spirit of the priest or the original spirits of the priest are actually in the shadows, and they're trying to stop Perseus from activating the temple because they know it is going to send off it is going to open the gate to the tree of life, and thus uh, make way for the doom of everything, right? The end of everything. So what the demon would have done when it would have came into the realm, it would have overpowered them all and possessed the main or the first priest, and through him it would have sucked out the souls of his brothers, and by taking them out, it would have sort of converted them into looking like demonic spirits, right? And they would have fled off and went to their respective temples to sort of protect it from um, the in the event of the gatekeeper coming. And so what the demon would have realized is that he didn't interfere with them, because he would have realized that it would have played in his favor in manipulating the gatekeeper, in manipulating Perseus into believing that those things are actually evil, right? And they are the ones that you need to stay away from, or you need to defeat in order to help save the world and whatnot. And use their bodies, use their main bodies with uh, being possessed by his demons to convince Perseus that the priests that he's seeing in the grey robes or the brown robes are actually the good guys, and the ones in the red are actually the bad guys now, when it is the complete opposite. right? The ones in the red robe, the chaos shadows, are actually the spirits of the priest, right? So those are actually the good spirits of the priest that are actually trying to stop Perseus from activating the temple, from activating the door that would lead to the destruction of everything. And the ones in the normal body or the brown robes are actually the evil spirits that manipulating him, right? So it is going to try to kill him to stop him from progressing further and opening the other temples, right? But he doesn't know this. He isn't really aware of this. So he because of their demeanor and how they look, so he tries to flee from it now. I have so much fun writing this, guys. You believe? I think of all the ideas, this is actually one of my favorite ideas that I would have, stories that I would have written and worked on. And so it creates this orb where of energy where it is going to destroy every organic life within a certain radius, hoping that it kills Perseus in the procedure to stop him from activating the last two temples, so that he wouldn't cause the damnation or the doom of all life. So we have this nice little dark scene where we're not sure what happened to Perseus. And so we have this, it cuts to this view of the sky. I want to have like with some creatures flying overhead. And then the camera pans down and to the ocean, and you see Perseus coming out hurt after being hit by the bomb now. Actually left for dead, but would eventually be found by Aziza, which is the other protagonist. Her story would have begin at the end of this episode. I actually just didn't get enough time to film everything, before the laptop would have crashed now. But this is what the second episode of Journey to the Ancient Land of Moruga was supposed to be. So as you guys can see, very, very action-packed. And, with a lot of plot twists and excitement along the way now, right? Teamed together with beautiful visuals of unknown, of, these magical, mysterious worlds, world now, right? It was a story that I would have and would definitely want to continue. But as I've said, I'm going to make a lot of changes to the story. And so moving forward, I won't be using I won't be doing it in the same manner as to which I would have just explained to you guys, right? So the story is going to drastically and rapidly progress forward, but not in the same way now, right? There's going to be a lot of changes and a lot of things that would be removed and things that would maybe be added to not just this particular episode, but even the first chapter of Invasion of Journey to the Ancient Land of Moruga, right? So I hope you guys enjoyed that. If possible, if you guys want, because as I've said, I'm not actually going to be doing over this. When I'm doing over the entire series of Journey to the Ancient Land of Moruga, it's not going to be like this, right? So if you guys actually interested in seeing this in the high def version that I'm watching it on my PC as, because I know you guys wouldn't see it as that version, but rather sort of like blurry. I'm not sure how the live stream showing. Um, but if you guys interested in seeing this version, let me know in the community section on the channel. Just tag me, just ask to see it, and I would upload it, and but I won't put it public on the channel because it is unfinished. So I'll upload it and unlist it and tag the link in the community section so you guys can go check it out. Right? If you guys are interested in seeing the entire thing or watching the entire thing now. Right? So yeah, that's it for the live stream today. This is what I really wanted to talk about. This is what I really wanted to show you guys. What I've been working on, and I really appreciate all the support. As said before, as I always say, to everybody who has supported me as a filmmaker from inception to now. I really appreciate it, and it means a lot to me, to just be walking on the road or just traveling, just going to the shop or just traveling somewhere, and somebody, comes up to me and say, "Hey, I saw some of your work, I saw your film, and I really love it. It's really nice. It is very heartwarming for me to get that sort of reception from you guys who are fans of what I do now, right? It is really amazing, and I do appreciate it very much because sometimes, as mentioned before, sometimes it feels in this particular field as though like you're not actually really progressing or going anywhere at all, and so it can become very overwhelming at times, right? So I really do appreciate the support from you guys, and thank you very much for everything. And yeah, as I've said before, this is actually going to be done in a book. I'm actually writing the book now. So if you guys are interested in purchasing the book, if you guys are interested in purchasing the book to see how the story ends overall, I would leave a link to that in the community section once the book is published, so you guys can purchase the book online. And so, yeah, as I said before, thank you very much, guys, for everybody who has tuned into the live stream. Even if it was just for like a little minute, a second, just to kind of peep and see what I'm doing. But I really appreciate it. Thank you very much. And, hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day and do have a great Sunday. And I'm trying to make this a kind of regular thing, a Sunday morning live. So, yeah, most likely or most definitely see you guys.